This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. And with me today, you've seen him on Comedy Central's Premium Blend. You've got Hans. Hans, you look very warm. You look very sweaty. How are you doing?
Very, very shiny. I'm boiling over here. I'm sweating my weight in water, I guess. Sweat.
You got very oily looking
salty
cheeks.
Water.
Hey, we got our all-time most frequented guest on this program. We've got Jake Hanrahan back. I think this is part like 7 or 8 or 9.
Biggest loser, biggest movies loser.
Yes.
Always coming on, man.
And we're talking about quite a few movies today, and I'm very excited to talk about all these films that are charged with homoeroticism, seemingly across the board. Every single one of them, without exception.
Yeah, actually.
So it seems like since the beginning of movie history, people get this wacky notion that you can just suppress films to hide unpleasantries in society or in nature. Since its invention in the early 20th century, what are some movies that come to mind for you, Hans? That maybe your parents hid from you or something when you were a kid?
My parents were never very aware of media growing up, really. So whatever I was discovering, if they would catch me or if they were watching it with me, it would also be the first time. Because the whole, third world country thing, didn't really have access to as many things as you guys. And my parents didn't really grow up with TV shows or anything like that you would know. At least everything was either Mexican production or something that existed for a couple of years and that's it, or
so terrible.
A TV show that they might have gotten, like an American show that they dubbed. But my parents grew up in the 60s, 70s, so media was not really a thing. They don't really know much about. I don't think my parents have even seen like Exorcist or those movies that most people have seen. Just because it wasn't a thing when they were growing up. So everything I've discovered has been on my own, pretty much.
And Jake, you're in the UK, obviously, and you've got there's a different kind of censorship board over there as far as like art and media goes. How familiar are you with that general thing?
Not very, but I do remember like every so often there would be like a banned film or a banned documentary, and it would be like a kind of splash and tabloid, like Red Top Media, and then it would just make everybody want to watch it, and that's about it. But I don't remember that. I mean, growing up, my dad kind of just let me watch whatever I wanted, which is pretty fucked up. But he would let me watch like 18s when I was like fucking 6. And I remember just watching even on the TV, we had quite a lot of there was this crazy series called Nil by Mouth, where this group of friends kill a guy and he gets rigor mortis and they smash his legs into bits to bury him in the fucking in the foundations of their house. And that was just on at 10 p.m. on BBC, So I always remember just being like, wow, this is pretty crazy,
Yeah, that's the thing about television in the UK that's very different from America, or at least in the past before everything went to streaming. Is to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, after 9 or 10 p.m. you can say fuck, you can show anything you want on the television set, and here they just waste that time with paid programming and James Corden.
What's it called? Watershed? Is it?
Yeah, the Watershed. Yeah. So I remember when in the 90s and early 2000s, even after the Watershed, everything got pretty fucking good, a bit gnarly, a bit gritty. Now our media is just so, I don't know, there's a whole, everyone's become really coy. Everybody's that kind of wild era of the 90s is very, very much gone in British television. So now there's not much difference, but before, growing up, there was a big difference. After 9 p.m., it started getting mad. After 10 p.m., everything was on,
So, yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, this is an obviously relevant topic to today since everything's getting clipped from something perpetually. The big one is, Lola Bunny's breasts is the big hot topic of the day. because they think that
Yeah.
adults are going to see this movie and have a ravenous hard on in the theater, start jacking off in front of all the kids. I don't know what the hell they're on about. It's just a
It's
cartoon.
so weird though. It's like right, it's just a cartoon, and it's like Lola Bunny. If you want to fuck cartoons, then she was a hot cartoon.
I don't
But like
It's
they've
still,
changed it. But it's
it's
like
still a
what?
rabbit.
I
It's
know, but
still
it's like what? Like
a
like
rabbit.
hot
Sicko.
curvy women can't be
That's
powerful. Like they've
that's
had
one
to
of
change her. Oh no, she can't be
What
hot.
what
Like
is the hold on,
why?
but what is the argument for getting hard at a cartoon? Like you got tricked because it seems similar enough to a woman? I've never been aroused
that's
to a
I
the
don't
cartoon.
know, man. I've never understood that, man. Like, I remember
that's
seeing
what
hentai once, like as a real young kid. Like one guy I know, like he was like, "I got this," and showed me, and I was like, "What?" Like I
One
could
one
just draw
40-year-old
that.
guy
Like,
you know from the neighborhood
no,
said, "Hey, come watch this hentai."
no, he was like a little bit older than me, but yeah, I was just like, "This is useless." He loved it though, but yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So
that's the one thing that I thought was really funny about this whole Lola Bunny thing, that a lot of people are just coming out with, yeah, she was hot. She was like the first cartoon that I was ever attracted to, and people proud of that. And just like, it's still a rabbit. It's like a
Yeah.
humanized rabbit still that you wanted to fuck when you were a teenager.
Actually, I tell you what, when I was about 4 years old, I watched Basil the Mouse Detective. And there's a scene where there's like a woman, she's like dancing and she has a garter, like, like a fucking garter on her thigh. And as a
sure.
4 year old, I was like, I don't know why, but I fucking love that scene. And like, I didn't have it. This kid, Billy, I'd always be saying to Billy, like, put Basil the Mouse Detective on. He's like, why you want to watch that again? I was like, it's a good film. It's
Wow.
so weird. Yeah. But I was very young. I think I was just like, what? Like, like not understanding this female mouse was not real.
Wow. Sexual awakening is what Basil the Mouse Detective. That's
Yeah,
that's
a
that's what
4 year old mouse pervert, man. Yeah.
Oh,
Babar
man.
the elephant.
Okay, so to get into some of the films we're talking about tonight, like the earliest of this would probably be The Birth of a Nation, the D.W. Griffith film, which I think is very hard to track down in a physical copy nowadays, even though it is in the public domain.
It's that like KKK one, right?
Yes. So the idea of this movie was they cover the loss of the Civil War, and then the repercussions of that, and just society falling apart because black people were given rights or whatever. And this has been attributed to like creating the resurgence of the KKK in the early 20th century. Seems like a convenient narrative to me. Seems like people were probably full of resentment and hostility anyway, so it probably would have turned into something else.
Right.
But I was under the impression this movie was just dandy with society during that time because the president at the time, Woodrow Wilson, aired it at the White House. It was like the first film that was theatrically screened at the White House. But this is not the case. My hometown of Boston actually tried to get this movie banned. Yeah, Boston always gets credited for being a racist place. It's not that racist. It's just people are sloppy with their language. That's all.
Yeah.
That's not...
It's the truth. And they tried to get this movie outlawed or whatever. And I can't remember because we were supposed to do the show like a year ago or something. And this memory's gone. But they obviously didn't, get their outcome that they were after.
What about that remake that was supposed to come out? I don't know if it did. Like 5 years ago.
That's
or
not a
something,
remake.
Before the director.
I know what you're talking about. So there was
The director got canceled or something
he got Me Too
before they
because
came out.
he was part of a gang rape, and then the girl killed herself, and then they blamed him for that. Or no, he wasn't even in the gang rape. He was just there. He was around, And they went after him. This movie got sold for like the most money ever at Cannes or Sundance, one of these festivals. And then all the Oscar hopes dissipated in that moment when that story came out. It was not a remake.
What? The director was involved in a real life gang rape.
Yeah. So let me figure out.
I mean, there's canceling and there's like, yeah, okay, fuck that guy. Like, Jesus Christ. That's not one of them ones we like, come on. It's like, whoa, fuck him, man. Jesus Christ.
The Birth of a Nation was 2015, I want to say. And it was about the Nat Turner Rebellion. Yeah, 2016.
Mm.
And this movie got good reviews at first, and then bad reviews after the story came out, and then the movie just
Uh,
disappeared. And that's about the gist of that. Have either of you guys seen, neither one of you have seen Birth of a Nation? I don't know why I'm asking this.
no,
No,
no.
I've seen
Uh,
maybe like 10 minutes of it, and I just got like really really bored. Like the big film nerd take is like D.W. Griffith. Yes, he made this movie. He's a good director, but not because of this movie, but because of Intolerance. Intolerance was his big epic follow up because to D.W. Griffith, he's making this movie, and he's like not understanding the critical feedback to it that is calling him racist. He's like, I'm not a racist. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he
I'm
was a
not racist at
Democrat,
all.
right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I'm sure. Well, the guy that funded it was like a big Democrat or some
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well,
wait,
at
they
the
were calling him
time,
racist in the 20s
yes,
or
in the
whatever.
20s, people were like, "This is a racist
When
film, DW. What are you thinking?" And he's like, I don't understand.
Wow.
What are you saying? I'm racist for? Look, I'll prove I'm not racist. I'll do Intolerance, and Intolerance is about all the intolerance throughout history in like 4 different chapters. Like the persecution of Jesus and the Egyptians, or I don't know, something going on with that. It's all right.
a comedy. Yeah.
It's hilarious, Life of Brian style comedy. Yes. Um, so this is the first big example of it. You can buy a Blu-ray of it on eBay for like $40, $50. The next one that I want to go down the list on is The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin. Have you guys seen The Great Dictator?
No, I've seen
No,
the
time ago.
speech.
Well, it's a good one. All right, next up. Which ones did you watch, Jake?
Wait, that was why was that canceled?
Offensive
Why was
or
that?
something. Comedy's outlawed. It's banned. Comedy's dead. Didn't you see No Safe Spaces, PragerU? Adam Carolla? No?
Oh god.
No.
What did we watch? What's that? Bad Lieutenant.
Yes. Bad Lieutenant's the
The
90s,
uncut
though.
one.
What about before that?
Yeah, it was all right. What did I watch before that?
Well, you can buy
Fuck,
Birth of a
man.
Nation for $3 on Amazon.
Yeah, if you're going to rent it or something, I bet. I'm not talking
No,
about
no, it's a Blu-ray. The Nat Turner one.
for
Blu-ray,
that one.
$3.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's not on the list.
The other one's 15. Okay.
Hang on, we had a list of films.
So here's the
know-
list that I came up with, and we'll just talk about whatever like the earliest example is. You got The Great Dictator, Scorpio Rising, which you referenced, and
Yeah,
I tried
seen
watching
that.
that.
Yeah,
I put that on maybe like 10 minutes ago. That just seemed like a
It's so
gay
shit.
rockabilly BDSM
Just-
music video.
Yep.
Midnight Cowboy, Clockwork Orange,
Yeah.
Last
Yeah,
Tango in
seen that.
Paris. All right, we'll pause. You saw Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I just thought it was shit. I don't know, man. I was just like, it was just boring, man. It's like, right,
boring.
okay. It was just, they have the same song for honestly an hour. Like they played after a whole hour of that song coming in every 5 minutes. I was like, I can't anymore. So that bored me. Like it was just weird, man. But I watched, Scorpio Rising. I saw, and then Clockwork Orange. I've seen. Honestly, like the weird thing about like Scorpio Rising, I read about that and was like, oh, it's this mad band film. And I saw some screenshots and I was like, wow, this looks kind of like really cool, like edgy as fuck, like some weird like homoerotic thing in a time when like everybody wanted to kill gays. And there's some weird Nazi shit, and then there's biker shit. And then I put it on and I watched it and was like, what was the point? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what's his name? Kenneth Anger. And like, it's one of them things where because there's some kind of mysticism around him, people just say like, wow, isn't his films good? And it's like, no, that film was shit. Like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe back then it was mildly shocking, but now it's not shocking. But it was just shit. Like there are good films that have been banned, but it was just a shit film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's difficult to get shocked by something like this when things like RuPaul's Drag Race exist. You
Yeah,
know?
literally, yeah. Like that's normal now. Like, and what's in Scorpio Rising is probably not even nearly as like graphic. Not that that's graphic, but you know what I mean. Like that much flesh is probably not even on show. Which I know back in the day was a big thing. Like, oh, there's a thigh out. You know what I mean? Like everybody's gonna die. But yeah, man, it's funny when you watch these things how. I don't know. I guess it's the attitudes have changed or what, which is obvious. It happens always throughout history. But Like even Clockwork Orange, I'm like, what remotely would be banned about that? I don't even get it. Even in the time it came out, I did a little bit of research on that, and I thought, I mean, come on, like there was all sorts of subversive stuff back then, which I guess my point is, I think things get banned often, like depending on which time period you're in, but I think they often, like, someone will just zone in on it and be like, right, that has pissed me off. Like, it was Grand Theft Auto for a while, all the politicians, like, and I feel like a lot of these films, it's just someone has seen it and that has just really, like, bothered their inner conservative or whatever, and they've just gone after it. Like, a lot of them, I don't see why, I mean, like Bad Lieutenant, why? Because he had his dick out. Oh no, I guess the nun gets raped. Yeah, I can see that actually, but I fucking forgot about that shit, man. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of it, I think, is like a political thing, rather than the actual reaction from people.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing sincere about it at all. You can look at today, and there's plenty of people who say very spicy things who have not been canceled because they haven't, gotten the correct eye on them yet, where that type of person will hone in and decide, I need to eliminate you from whatever it might be. And plenty of people have been clipped over very arbitrary, soft reasons that have done far less. But go ahead, Hans. I know you're going to forget your point in a second if I don't shut up.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's funny, like what you're saying, whatever it's offensive at the moment, because I feel like with a lot of these films on this list, the thing that's offensive or the thing that got them banned kind of makes sense in the context of the movie. So even though, it might be offensive or some people might get offended by it, it's not like they were thinking of including this one thing in the movie so that people will get offended, but they do make sense in the movie. Now, when you think of something like a Serbian film where you have baby rape and shit thrown in at it, that is obviously just for shock value, so that how much we can push the envelope. That I can see a censorship making more sense because it's obviously put in there for that, so to cause shock. But something
they
like,
want to get banned, I think, those kind of films.
Exactly, yeah. So let's say something like Last Tango in Paris, we had like that butter scene, right? The butter rape or the butter sex scene or whatever. It makes sense in the context of the movie that something like that would happen. Sure, it was horrible. It shouldn't have happened. The actor shouldn't have done that. But if you watch the movie, it makes sense that the character would do that. So the fact that it was banned, it's like, okay, you're banning the vision of the artist, even though it makes sense in the context. I don't really see how banning it does anything other than, I mean, it's just censorship for the sake of censorship. But if you see something more modern, like a Serbian film, for example, where the object of it or the point of it is to offend people, and things are put in to get offended or to get banned, then the censorship will make more sense. I go through that whole list that we have when we have things like Natural Born Killers, which is fine, it's violent or whatever, but I don't really see why.
I don't see anything in that is like, ban it. It's like all of it makes sense. Like there's fucking serial killers or whatever. Like obviously they're gonna do a lot of killing, Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Especially during the 90s too. That seems very excessive to me to try and like. Again, I feel like that was probably more a stunt on Warner Brothers or whoever was putting that movie out at the time to, just hype up the talk around that, because you had Oliver Stone, you had Quentin Tarantino involved in that.
So you're thinking psychopaths. Like, how far can you? How much are you willing to put your audience through? I guess to get the point across that this person is horrible, and I just that one on the list was one that I was very confused about because I can't remember anything from it that would be offensive to the point of getting anyone or anything banned from it. So it didn't really make much sense that would get.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well comes down to the influence of the people wanting it banned. For example, like, I was just on about Bad Lieutenant. I said, oh, fuck, I forgot. But there's a, the scene where the nun gets raped. I mean, it's not particularly graphic or convincing or, you know what I mean? It's like obviously not pleasant, but it's not graphic really. But it's like the Catholic Church has so much power in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I get it. I can understand why that ended up getting to a point where like it got banned because, Catholic Church, I mean, they stopped thousands and thousands of people using contraceptives. Like, I mean, the amount of power they have still, to this day is insane. And it's like, I can get it. And I think really the conversation around like what should be banned and shouldn't be banned. I mean, I don't have an answer for it, but I don't. I there's very little I see the point of, unless it's like, I've heard about things where it's like, oh, there was some kind of pedo scene, and when you read into it, it's like whoever made that was probably just a fucking pedophile. Like it's you know what I mean? It's like it's too much. It's like why do you have to make something seem so real in certain things? You know what I mean? Not that I'm one for censorship, but there's certain things where it's like, come on, it's obscene on a different level. Whereas, like gore. I mean, to me, gore is just gross. It makes me want to turn the film off. I find it much more like interesting when it alludes to something. You know what I mean? Rather
Right.
than actually fucking seeing it. So I don't know. It's really interesting. When you were saying about like we should do this cancel thing, I started reading up on like canceled films and the whole culture around that, banned films or whatever. Yeah, it's so interesting, man. Like especially when it like per country. You know what I mean? Like Australia
Well,
Yeah.
would love banning shit.
when when you mentioned the Catholic Church, that's the only one I can think of that was banned here, or anything that has been banned here in Costa Rica has been anything that has any type of uh, priest or Catholic involvement. So
So
there's this
Spotlight
movie
got
called
outlawed?
the no, no, no,
No.
nothing like that, because I don't even know if that was even here. I wasn't here when that came out. But there's this Mexican movie called The Crime of Father Amaro or something like that. And it's about this young priest that has sex with a young girl from, I think she's of age, but she's like, one of the people from his church, and he's not supposed to do that. And he has sex with her. And then she goes to get an abortion and she dies. So it's like that crime of like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. That was banned from coming into the country because it's offensive and something that shouldn't come in, and ideas that we should not be exposed to. And the other one that just pops into my head is the Passion of the Christ.
Oh yeah.
That
Mel
one,
Gibson one.
Yeah.
that one, no, 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 not the Passion. Sorry,
No,
the
Last
Last Temptation
Temptation.
of Christ.
Well, yeah, I was gonna
That
mention
one,
that.
yeah,
That got a
Uh,
lot of trouble from the Catholic League. They tried to shut that
that
down at
was
every opportunity.
why?
that was one of the things that woke me up to, because I was Catholic growing up, and I was instilled the fear of, if you don't do this, you go to hell, and it's horrible, and
Yeah.
blah blah. Growing up, when I remember the outrage that everyone had here about that movie, and how you're depicting Jesus in a way that didn't happen, and it's horrible, and it's sacrilege and whatever. Years later, I watched it, and they just make
It's
Jesus
pretty
human.
tame. Yeah,
Like it's
that was the problem.
it's yeah,
That's the
it's
problem. Yeah.
the only time when he's not perfect. So I was like, all right, so they're just protecting you from seeing Jesus not a perfect being. That doesn't make any sense. Like, the censorship didn't make any sense. But I remember distinctly growing up, and that movie was just like, no, can't be seen here. In the newspaper, just like opinions from people being like, Satan is here and all that shit. And it's
Oh
just
my
a
god.
movie where he's horny. He gets kind of horny.
Yeah, it's like I recently read that book, Holy Blood, Holy Grail. I think it's been mostly disproven, but it's interesting. It's kind of, I mean, it's non-fiction, but I read it as a fiction almost. And there's a lot that the Catholic Church really doesn't like about that whole thing. And it's not that, oh, it might be real. Some of the conspiracy people around it say, oh, the church hates it because it's probably real. And if you don't know, it's the theory that Jesus didn't die on the cross. He went, he had a kid with Mary Magdalene, blah blah blah. And it's like what you've said. It's the church aren't worried that, oh, it might be real. The church is worried that people might believe it, and then they see Jesus as anything less as a deity, which actually historically he never really was. Like, it's kind of,
Yeah.
he was just like, the Messiah. Messiah was never actually a religious term. Messiah just meant like kind of revolutionary. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really take on a religious term or
Right.
a deity term. And it's like, yeah, it kind of opens up the like the motive behind the banning, right? It's never really, oh, this is going to offend people. It's like, oh shit, this is going to fuck shit up for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what the strength of the Catholic League is nowadays, because I don't know. Catholicism has obviously fallen out of favor. I haven't seen them going after really any move. I mean, there would be plenty to go after if they really,
Mhm.
had an issue. Anything that's on HBO Max right now, they could probably go after. But no, I mean, this was a big fuss back in the 1980s, and it seemed like by the time that the Passion of the Christ came around, like, well, they didn't really have a problem. I think they loved that movie, actually.
Well, yeah, it was like the Anti-Defamation League
Right,
didn't
the
like it though
ADL
because
had a problem with
it's
that.
basically like Mel Gibson's ode to anti-Semitism, right? It's like anti-Semitism, the movie, like in HD. Like it's such a funny it's if like Mel Gibson hadn't gotten all that trouble, it wouldn't be as funny. But because he did, it's just like
That was a perfect
fucking hell,
storm.
Mel Gibson. Like you're like, are you that funny? Like,
Well,
you know what I mean? He hates Jews so
this
much, he makes the whole
this
film like.
the second one's coming out, right? So I just want to
Yes,
see how far he
the
pushes. He's
resurrection
got
comes
what, a
out
decade?
maybe a year or
He
two
said it.
from now. It's mostly done. I've seen. I think there were set photos that came out with Jim Caviezel, now aged like 25 years or however long it's been since the last one. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, he's had like 15 years of anger towards that same type of people that cancel
Yeah.
him and push him out
He
of the industry
he
now.
he just can't drop it, can he? It's like I remember reading the thing and just laughing so hard when it was like he was arrested by a Jewish police officer and was like screaming like anti-Semitic shit. I thought that must have been so funny for the police officer, just like you dumb fuck, like you know what I mean? Like you're a fucking Mel Gibson and you couldn't even panic. You know what I mean? Like
That
Jesus
movie,
Christ.
I remember my mom called me coming out of that movie, just bawling, crying. And I was like, what the fuck?
Really?
But
They killed
yeah, just
Jesus.
Well, what did she
yeah,
expect to
just
happen? That's how
Yeah.
that go. That's
beating
how the
him up.
story goes.
I know. I know. It's just like, well, they just beat him up for 2 hours, just
I mean, it was the
graphically beat.
Romans that fucking killed him anyway. Like, it wasn't even the Jews. You know what I mean? Like, such a weird thing, man. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think one thing as well. Like in Britain, we had a documentary about the death of Princess Diana, who for a lot of people was kind of the only good royal. You know what I mean? Like nobody. I wouldn't say nobody, but like the love of the royal family has simmered down a lot over the decades. A lot of people have realized that they just kind of they're freeloaders. They take a lot of money from
Yeah.
tax. It's not whether you like them or not. It's just a lot of people have realized like this just isn't
They don't
fair.
do anything.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
really not fair. And as a lot of the jingoism kind of lost its footing in the UK, people look to Diana as in like she was the only good one. She was the only kind of
Do they say that
human
though
one.
because she died young? Do you think that's all?
Well, honestly, like people loved her, man. Like, like in my family, like fucking, my granddad is no fucking fan of the royal family. And even he was like, she was good. Like, she did that thing where she went to Africa and, the queen wouldn't take off her gloves to shake hands with people in case they had AIDS. And she did. Like, I mean, it's kind of pathetic when it's like, oh, wow, like, you're so brave, Diana. But back then, it was like, it was a big thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, you
she
can't
was
catch
the
AIDS from shaking hands anyway.
No, but I mean, look,
um,
when I was 4, I wouldn't buy hamburgers because I was petrified of mad cow disease. That's just how information
yeah,
spread
yeah,
back then. You didn't
yeah.
know. Nobody knew anything.
But anyway, like everyone loved her. She was pretty loved, and then she died young. And then there's this documentary came out, made by Keith Allen, who, he's like a TV celebrity. It's Lily Allen, the singer. It's like her dad, and it's called Unlawful Killing, and it's a documentary basically saying that the Queen and Prince Philip had her killed because she'd had a baby with a Muslim, and and to be honest, it's not that far fetched. Like if you look at the history of the royal family, but anyway, that got banned, and it just made it massive. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if they hadn't have got that banned, I don't think much. It wouldn't have been much, man. But it just for a while it became like huge. Like people really liked it. I watched it. It's fine. Like it's not great, but it's all right. But I remember even my grandma was like, "Oh, can you get me that film? Or what? It's banned. I want to watch it." You know what I mean? I was like, "Wow, the power of banning a documentary."
Well, the thing with Diana was that she was the only human one, right? Everyone
Right, right.
else seemed so above everyone in just the way that they conducted themselves towards anyone else, where they were always above them or like just saying hello from afar. And
Yeah.
then you have her who, before the prince met her, well, he met her when she was underage, but before he got with
Oh,
her, she was like, yeah, she was doing charitable things. She was working with
yeah,
sick
yeah.
people and like sick old people, and that's how he met her. So she was always kind of like the outsider of that family. So I guess that's why everyone loved her so much, I guess.
Well, this is how like fucking easily fooled the British public is sometimes. Like, people are like, "Oh, she's just like us." I mean, she's from one of the richest families probably that you'll ever meet. Like she is the highest tier of elitism possible underneath the royals. But because she's not quite like on that level, it was like, "Oh, we like her." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but no, to be fair, I'm no fan of the royal family, but she was pretty cool. But yeah, I just remember like being young and remembering that like that was one of the first things that when it was banned, I really wanted to see it as well. And to this day, when something gets banned, I kind of want to see it just to know, oh, really, what's it all about? And I've never once watched something that's banned where I've been like, wow, like okay,
Yeah.
like I'm so glad I watched it now. Like it's like,
Mm.
oh, really? Was that it? You know what I mean?
I think
Well,
that's
there's
certainly the case nowadays. Everything you see that gets pulled from theaters or distribution or whatever is usually like a C grade movie or TV show for the most part. Like people are, I mean, look, I was watching that Roseanne reboot because there was nothing else on TV. But that's a banned piece of media now because she got kicked off Twitter or something like The Hunt, that movie because they were hunting Trump supporters or whatever, that got pulled from theaters. And it's like, are these movies really great movies? No, there's an added mystique to them
No.
nowadays because of these factors, but for the most part, what you're going to see is going to usually be unimpressive, at least compared to a lot of these 20th century films that were suppressed by some organization or by the company that did produce them at the time. I think there is actually a lot of value in these films that came out from like the 1970s to the 90s.
Well, it's become a marketing tool, right? So
Yeah.
something like Paranormal Activity, that hugely successful franchise wouldn't exist if that first movie wasn't marketed as it was.
But hold
which
on,
was using.
there's a difference between someone puked in the theater when they saw this movie, and
Right.
we're not showing this movie to anyone. We're going to keep this locked in a vault. That's the company being petrified that they're going to get so harsh of feedback that their investors are going to pull out of the company.
Mm.
But does that happen anymore though? Like
Yes.
what's that? How's it Jack built? I guess something
That's
like
different,
that would
but
be.
that's a foreign movie. Like you're talking about a movie that was produced by a company in Denmark, I believe. Like
Right.
the general ethos in a country like that, or even like France or Italy, is so much different than what I think is happening in the United States and probably the United Kingdom when it comes to what movies are greenlit, and also just the amount of creative integrity that the director or screenwriter is going to have when it comes to producing that film.
Right. I guess I just can't think of the top of my head of any modern movies that had that treatment of no one's able to see it. Mostly because now everything gets leaked online. So even if you don't want someone to see it, someone's gonna leak a torrent and it'll get out there.
They've got
But I
better at
guess
containing that though. Like there's certain things I've tried to find and it's like fucking hell, like I actually can't find this now. Like, like with that DMCA shit, like even
Yeah.
on fucking like Where's websites, they'll find a way, like long gone is the time of being able to find anything. Like, but I mean, you could find full films on YouTube back in the day, like now it's fucking crazy how difficult it is,
Also, to answer what you had said, Hans, one would be Louis C.K.'s movie "I Love You, Daddy," which has been hidden since 2017. It's never gotten a release. Somebody did leak it online later that year
right.
because I think they were going to give it, I think anyway, Oscar treatment since it was coming out around the fall, and there were screeners that had already been produced, and then that just never got released ever. That's been buried at some company, whatever. I mean, Lionsgate or whatever. Because he loves jerking off, because he loves to masturbate.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he just can't stop wanking, man. Yeah, I forgot all about that fucking hell.
You watched it, right?
I did. I thought it was actually pretty good. It's like a Woody Allen knockoff. So if you don't like that, then it's not going to be that good. It's a little. It's fine. It's not anything special.
It's like what would be another the interview.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean that one. I mean, no one talks about that one. That one got
let down.
that. I'll tell you what though. That was the first instance of like a big movie with like actual stars at the time going to streaming. That was the first instance of that because they had no other way to get that out. So they plopped that on streaming, I think on Christmas Eve, and everybody was like, "Yeah, it's my American duty to see this movie because fuck North Korea."
Oh
So
my
that became a
God.
tremendous
Yeah.
hit, and since then, no one thinks about it. No one
No,
talks about it because it wasn't that good.
There's something interesting though that I was thinking about, that there are films now that they're not literally banned, but they're banned because of, why, something the director has done. Like, for example, I probably spoke about this before, but a long time ago, I was talking to a friend about a Polanski film. Now, I don't particularly give a shit about his films, but there's two films I really liked of his. And I was talking to a friend about it, and she was like, "Well, you can't fucking watch that, man. It's Polanski." And I was like, "Well, yeah, like he's a disgusting pedophile, but like I can still watch his films." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but you can't. Like, what? Like, it's so weird to me. Like, what do you mean? Like, well, because that person is this, and then yeah, and then there's another thing I've noticed where people will have to say that something is bad because of what it represents. Like you can't say that, like, oh, I don't know, this, I don't know, weird example, Death in June, like weird fascist band, right? You can't say like, oh, that song, I like that song, like of theirs. You have to say like it's shit. It's shit because they're a
Yeah.
fascist.
Yeah.
Like, well, no, I
That's
don't
right.
like the guy, and I'm gonna steal the music probably. I don't want to give him money, and I'm probably gonna bootleg Polanski. Like, I care
Yeah.
a little bit, but like, you can still watch it. Like, the art is the art. I really believe that you don't have to like. I just don't understand that thing of like, don't watch that because the person that made it is bad. It's just so fucking weird to me. Like, is it
And also, if we're
entertaining?
gonna go down the
Yes.
list
Okay.
of like Hollywood people who have fucked kids, like you're not gonna watch any movies at
Right.
all. You're gonna watch.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Mel Gibson
Yeah. If I want
films
to
probably.
read,
He seems like the
if I
purest
want,
man,
if I,
right? What were you
if I want
saying,
to read
Hans?
Mein Kampf, if I want to read Mein Kampf in Starbucks, how dare you, barista, give me cider? I'm
And
just.
I'll tell you what, I actually saw a man reading Mein Kampf in Starbucks one time, and he was dressed like do you remember the berries and cream commercials in the United States for some like product or whatever? Nah, I'm talking to two foreigners right now. You guys aren't gonna know what I'm
Yep.
saying.
Yeah.
It's all right. Anyway, he was a freak. That's all you need to know. So a movie I also want to talk about. I don't know if you got around to watching this movie, but it's kind of relevant to today's ethos, I guess, is Cruising, the Al Pacino William Friedkin film, because this is, I think, the first instance of like any kind of progressive unit trying to get a film canceled and removed before it even comes out because of the portrayal of gay lifestyles in this movie. Which I think is pretty interesting. Hans, have you watched Cruising, didn't you?
No, I haven't
No,
seen it.
I'm on my
I
own.
know, I know of it. I know what happens in it. I know a lot about it, but I've never actually sat down and seen it. Something about gay Al Pacino
Al,
kind of
Al
rubs
Pacino
me
is
the
an
wrong
undercover
way.
cop, and he's looking for a killer, and he has to go and cruise, these gay clubs to try and find his man.
BDSM. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Well,
BDSM clubs.
he goes into the Scorpio Rising clubs,
Right. Yeah. It's the
trying to
same
find
kind
a
of
Right.
vibe
serial
as
That
that.
killer.
vibe.
Right.
Yeah,
And
trying to find a serial killer that's fucking and killing gay people.
this
Right?
was all
Something like
based on like real murders as well. So it's kind
yeah.
of got that aspect to it, and it was a big, big hubbub back in the day, to the point where they were filming in, I think, New York City at the time, and this was very well known what the movie was about. And members of the gay community would go and like literally hold rallies around where they would be shooting and try and disrupt the noise so they couldn't get good audio during the film. So they would be filming at a restaurant or something, and you would have like a parade of gays outside screaming and yelling and having like kazoos and dancing in thongs or whatever the hell they do. I don't know. I wasn't alive back then.
I
Now,
find that really weird though. Like, I mean, okay, the gay people protested it as well, but like, I think when progressives try and cancel stuff like that, I think it actually shows something that they don't mean to show. Like, it kind of shows that they don't really like, they don't actually want to see the real face of certain aspects of the gay community, you know. And I got gay friends that go to some mad shit. Like they do some mad gay shit, like mad sex stuff. And they, you know, told me about it. I don't mind. Like I'm, you know, me, I'm like, cool, man, do what you want. Like that sounds fucking terrifying. I wouldn't do it, but you know, cool, man, whatever, do what you want. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of progressives though, when faced with the reality of some of that shit, they're like, oh my god, like they it fucking freaks them out. So instead of being honest and going, I don't like this, it scares me, they go like, this is a bad portrayal of that community. And it's like, no, this community does stuff like that. Like, you know, and why do you have to make, you know, I don't necessarily think they should be ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck? As long as they're not hurting.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is the gay community portrayed in a bad way in the movie, or are they just showing them as horny? You know?
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it seems like a seedy environment in these films, but that's what they are. I mean, if you're going to find some ass, you know, it's going to be a seedy environment, especially
in the 70s,
anywhere, right?
Right. Yes.
Gay, straight. Like
if you go to a swingers club
nice
for married couples down in Florida, then that's gonna be a weird experience for you. So
sure, yeah.
There were scenes in this movie that were cut out that had like someone was getting fisted on the dance floor or something. I don't know. That's some very dirty stuff. That I'm sure, that was probably happening in New York City in the late 70s. New York City in the 70s, very weird place, very wild place. But Cruising is a great movie. And no, I wouldn't say that they depict gays as like inherently perverse or anything like that. As a matter of fact, you don't really get a sense of like any gay people outside of that environment, maybe aside from like a couple of like supporting characters who are like interrogated by the Al Pacino character, but they just seem normal. They're not even like flamboyant in the movie. So, it was a big fuss about nothing. And it actually kind of was later embraced by the gay community, maybe 20, 30 years down the line, which intersects a lot with like the horror community. Seems like gay people really love horror and wrestling and comic books, Hans,
was it when they watched it? They watched the movie and they were like, "Oh, it's not so bad."
No, it's not that
years
bad.
Later.
It's a good dark movie from 1980. It's a good film. Straw Dogs is another example of that.
No, I don't like the implication you were about to make. By the
way, have you guys watched Straw Dogs?
Yes, that was good.
What's that one about?
That one James is no, not that one, Hans. No. That's Dustin Hoffman and his wife moving out to like the countryside of England, and they're just setting up their house and everything. And then the wife's ex-boyfriend and his couple of friends decide to do some scaffolding work or whatever for them. And then things get out of hand.
She teases them, and yeah. It's her fault.
It's all the woman's fault.
I hadn't seen it, man, but I think I read the synopsis. I feel like I've watched all the wrong ones. I don't know. I watched like 5, I think.
You watched the cool ones, the ones that sound cool. Bad Lieutenant. Yeah.
I'm just like a child, like, oh, yeah, Bad Lieutenant.
No, but Straw Dogs is really cool though. It's really graphic, and it's like this really meek and little.
Straw Dogs is great. Straw Dogs. I think you'd actually like Straw Dogs, Jake.
To check that out.
It's there's a controversial rape scene because it implies that she kind of enjoys it because it's with her ex,
right?
Like she's got complicated feelings about that, and then he lets his homie hit it next, and she's not even aware of it. She's got her back turned. That's not nice. That's not a good trick to pull on any lady you care about or don't care about for that reason.
That's not a good one. There's fucking Sorry, go on.
No, and it just culminates into this thing where Dustin Hoffman is like, he's kind of like one of the Try Guys. I watched a Try Guys video today where we were talking to Dr. Fauci. He's a lot like that. And he just keeps like taking it on the chin. They kill his cat. They rape his wife. And he's just like, things are all right. I'm okay. I'm a good guy. But then when they try to kill the town retarded pedophile guy who accidentally murders the little girl like Frankenstein when he throws her into the lake, then he's like, no, not anymore. I'm done taking this shit. And he grabs his shotgun and he's going to defend his home against these people. So, and then it gets like really good. So it's a great film. I hope I didn't spoil it too much by going into detail on that. But I think it's also a very relevant film to today, where people are like in denial of having to commit to this idea of self-defense, that you might not be safe because you want to be safe,
Yeah,
and you trick yourself into believing you're in a safe environment when you're not, and
yeah.
maybe it comes down to when it's too late that you have to act on that.
We're having that right now in the UK. Like the government is trying to bring in, a staggeringly authoritarian protest bill. I mean, I don't want to derail this too much, but I know what you mean. Like it's happening now, and like it basically will make free protest. It means the police can stop it at any moment. And like yesterday there was like some police officers got beaten up when in a clash, and one of their vans got set on fire, and now the media is like, oh my God, what has happened? And it's like, you didn't say anything for 2 weeks. The government is trying to bring in a bill that is literally the sort of thing you see in Turkey and Russia, and no one gave a shit. Like it's you're right. Like right now, there's this thing of like, oh, it's okay, everything's okay, and it's like, nah, man, everything's burning like fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The minute that you hear anything at all about anything, it seems like nowadays is when people who have power get affected by it, even the slightest bit. So,
Absolutely true, man. I think that as well. I think a lot of people are starting to realize as well, maybe not in America, but I think here they're realizing that this whole like left right dichotomy is kind of bullshit. It's kind of it is. I mean, honestly, COVID in England showed a lot of people that it's just us versus them. You know what I mean? Whatever that means. It's you know what I mean. A lot of people, luckily, I think, are going, hang on, those guys I don't like, but fuck them. You know what I mean? Um, which anyway, to get back to banned films,
well,
it
no,
is kind of
it
the
plays into
them
it
that do
now.
ban shit, right? Yeah,
Yes,
exactly, right. Like
this is
it's always
entirely
like them.
right. It's a component, especially today, since in the U.S. especially, it is it's all hegemonic. Like the White House and Silicon Valley and Hollywood, this is all one entity now, and you're either on that side or you're not on that side.
Yeah,
That's how I look at it.
yeah,
So the whole left-right thing is irrelevant without any sort of diversity of power um, in the picture, I guess. So I mean, it's all one source making all the calls at this point. And as a matter of fact, it does go across party lines anyhow, because you have a lot of these Mitch McConnell types who are in lockstep with whatever the Democratic Party or this or that want to do, and that all ties back
yeah.
to the social media companies and the corporations. So it's all terrible. It's all very miserable.
Well, the right wing, some of the irony I always find of the right is that they're always saying, "Oh well, oh what snowflake," and it's like they're almost always the ones that are saying, "No, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. We can't have that. We can't have." It's like they're literally arguing the exact same thing just from a different point. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like fucking Ben Shapiro being like, "Wet ass pee," like you fucking loser. Like, you know what I mean? It's so embarrassing. Like, I mean, I thought the video was a bit over the top. I was like, man, that's pretty fucking graphic. But like, you're a grown man. Like, just fucking move on.
You don't have
know
to.
what I mean?
You don't have to comment on everything that happens.
Right. Like,
There's some
just
things
shut
that
the fuck up.
no one's really asking for your opinion earnestly. Like everyone that asks for your opinion on things like that is so that they can laugh at you. And
Yeah,
the fact
yeah.
that he can't see that, it's just no
It's
one actually
brilliant.
wants,
Yeah,
no one wants to see you read the fucking lyrics to the song.
yeah.
But if you do it, it's gonna become a meme. So go ahead,
Right. Right.
Wet ass p word. What kind of grown adult can't say pussy? Like, fucking hell, man. That really cracked me up. I thought that was so funny, man. But again, like, he was effectively arguing to like ban that song and ban, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. There's something about banning any kind of media. There's shit that I hate, and it's like, I don't want to fucking see it. I wish it wasn't constantly there, but I never want to ban it. You know what I mean? If,
Yeah.
if someone was like, like SNL, it's absolute dross. But like, if someone's like, we need to ban SNL, I'd be like, whoa,
I don't
what
know.
the
I would ban it.
fuck?
I would put
Like,
them all in
no.
prison personally. I think they all need to go away.
Maybe that was a bad example, like, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I think the banning thing is just so stepping over such a line, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is a thin line, but once you go over it, it's a big fucking deal.
They're coming to get you. That's the thing. Like no one ever thinks that they'll
You're
ever
right.
be on that seat. And
Right.
once it happens, it's like, no, wait, but I'm one of you. What are you doing? I'm supposed to
Jake,
be one who
how
do
much
that.
longer till you get banned? Because now you're like a big guy now because you got over 1 million views on your documentary. So you probably have some enemies right now watching this,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I mean, so our latest documentary, Ghost of Karabakh, the one where I was reporting in Armenia, so like a massive like Azerbaijani and Turkish kind of like bot army mass reported the doc, and YouTube couldn't take it offline because there's no reason to, but they have put it behind two, so now it's age restricted, and now a fucking window comes up saying this might be offensive or inappropriate. Like we're reporting on fucking war crimes, like and torture. Like what is offensive or inappropriate? Like it's very appropriate to do this. So that's happened. I'm surprised. I did think we might get banned for plastic defense, but I think there was so many views on it that maybe like YouTube something dings like, okay, this is good for us, like it means that it's bringing in viewers, because
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't actually care about anything. They just care about like what they can make money from, which fine, it's whatever. It's a private company. I despise them, but I get it. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like I don't really think I've done anything particularly crazy. Like I don't have any strong like right wing views or anything. I mean, I'm ultimately what you would call an old school kind of leftist, really. I mean, I wouldn't class myself as that. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't believe
I
in
love how you
left,
say that
right,
with
whatever.
Osama bin Laden right over your shoulder.
Right, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I love like childish edginess as well. But like, I mean, I've tried to be kind of, the soft, like radical liberals, you call them. Like they've tried to counsel me on social media, and it's just like I don't care. Like you people are irrelevant to me. Go and write a 50 tweet thread about being offended. I go to fucking war zones and talk about the plight of people in real problems. Like, if some like, or a kid who thinks he's a cab on the weekend wants to cancel me for some word I used, it's not going to affect me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm in a different place. I report on war and conflict, and a lot of people will go, all right, yeah, he's a bit of a dickhead, but that work is important to me, so they stay involved. But that being said, who fucking knows, man? I mean, you never know these days. It's like what Han said. They can be coming for you at any minute. And I know that sounds conspiratorial, but the writing's on the wall, man. You could just be taken down for fucking anything. Like it's all up to the behest of whoever's controlling the social media or the platform, right? We don't own any of this shit ourselves anymore. So, you have to kind of, ride their bull, as my mum says.
Right.
It's
And
worrying.
I mean, it's conspiratorial, but I don't think that it being conspiratorial negates like the reality of that whatsoever. Because
Yes.
these
No,
people,
no, that's
a
true.
lot of these people who do the mass flagging have like their little private groups, their private chats where they organize these
Absolutely.
things and
Yeah.
decide who the target of the week is. So, no, I think it's entirely logical to prepare for that or to have that in mind. And again, it's all arbitrary. It's all about who you piss off. Like I mean, we were talking about this right at the beginning. It's not about the content of what you said. You can say the most heinous shit imaginable, but if you piss off the wrong person, that's when the trigger is
The
pulled.
tastemakers, like you can't piss them off. But like I tell you one thing, it has taught me on Twitter at least, maybe like I use that so much less now, much less and less, and I feel much better for it. But it's taught me that like some of the like weird arguments I got into, looking back, it's like, what was the fucking point?
Mm.
Like, firstly, I should be allowed to say it. It's my right. I shouldn't be cancelled. I shouldn't be banned because I don't say anything. I'm a fucking anti-racist. I'm an anti-fascist. Like, I'm not breaking any of the big golden rules. And I really am not, because I fucking hate those people. However, I should be allowed to say, slightly offensive or even massively offensive shit. I don't care. No one has a right to not be offended. But looking back, it's like, did I need to? Like, I could have been creating something while I was doing that. Whilst
Mm.
I was in that argument, I could have been typing something up that I should have been doing. So now I'm like, I kind of just post on there like, this is cool, or here's some new work I've got.
So what you're
Other
what
than
you're saying
that,
right now
I don't bother.
is, I think, one of the central problems of why we're caught in this loop, where we can go back to like our 2019 2018 episode of movies where we're talking for the first time, we're talking about the same thing. Like, damn, everybody's getting canceled. Everything sucks as far as this goes. People who would rebel against that are not funneling that into art that is, going against that certain ethos,
Yes.
they're getting caught up in arguments. And arguments aren't persuasive on a general level at changing the cultural climate of things. It's,
Yeah.
you're one on one with another person, and you're essentially wasting your energy and your passion for whatever that is on that particular debate instead of using it in a more useful fashion. And I think that's a lot of why there's a stagnancy as far as not getting to the next step of pushing back on this.
I think that's a really interesting theory that needs to be explored more. I read a book recently called The Circle of the Snake, which is by Grafton Tanner, great writer. Anyway, it's basically about how like nostalgia has like ruined media and how the safe feeling of being in something nostalgic is actually like completely fake and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But there was a part in it that made me think that and I've seen this argument elsewhere. It's good for the human mind to be bored. It's very good to be bored, right? When you have your phone all the time, you don't really get bored. And especially if you're the sort of person that ends up arguing, you're angry. And you never are fucking bored when you're angry. You're consumed by anger. And I was thinking how many amazing films just never came to fruition, or how many cool ideas never, it's kind of like the sperm getting in the egg, they never permeated because that person was too busy. I go for a walk with my dog now in the forest all the time. I leave my phone at home. And I come back like, I swear down, like 9 times out of 10, I come back with an idea of something I want to do, something I want to write, or like, oh, I'm going to read that tonight. I forgot about that book, and it's like, yeah, man, how many ideas just didn't get through because people were obsessed with arguing online or whatever they're doing online? It's, and that accumulates, I think you're really right, man. Like, I think that's probably why things are going fucking stagnant, because people are not, instead of having that 50 fucking tweet argument, got to make a transgressive script. Like what you guys are doing. Like, that's cool. It's like, go and do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's weird to me that with everything going on today, it does seem like it's not just censorship that is hiding any sort of like intellectually stimulating art. It seems like people have just bottomed out, like as far as any sort of creative energy goes in offering authentic rebellion, which is unfortunate. I mean, we might round the corner on that soon, because I feel like we're not in a different terrain necessarily than 2016 or 2020, but it feels like we're in some kind of new environment as far as things go culturally, just because of a lot of the political and social shifts that have occurred over the past couple of years, and last year especially.
Well, I agree. And sorry, Hans, sorry, go on.
I'm sorry. Oh, what I think about this rebellion thing that you're talking about, and that how no one's really creating anything that goes against the grain or that tries to piss off whatever the grain is that it seems that whoever tries to do that doesn't really have that much of conviction or values,
right?
Because as soon as the machine comes calling, that's it. So everything they stood up for, everything that was fighting against that machine, money talks, and it's like, all right, well, now I'm part of that machine, so whatever I brought with me, it's gone.
Right. So I was talking about this on the Low Society podcast, which they were talking about, how can you penetrate whatever it is that's like knocking people down for making things and having offensive aspects. And it just comes down to, I think you just have to get punished. Like, you have to take the punishment. You have to be willing to make that sacrifice in order for anything at all to change. Because if you're afraid of that, if you go half measure on that, then, there's not going to be any ripples that are caused from whatever it is you're going to release. So, yeah, I mean...
But you need money for that, though. This is the unfortunate thing. You need money. And the only people that are trying to make anything transgressive are normally posing as making something transgressive. It's normally some alt-right fucking dickhead who's like, I'm going to make something and I'm going to make it really offensive and I'll call it funny. And it's like, and I'm not against offensive comedy, but it's like, you can't just be like, yeah, this is anti-Jewish. Ha ha, it's funny now. It's like, no, like, look at Nick Fuentes. Like, he's an absolute... objectively one of the dumbest, stupidest, boring, most fucking idiotic people. And it's like, what, you think that's transgressive? And he's getting all of this. He's just like, he's like a head louse of a man. And like, you know, he's getting all this money from these right-wing fucking donors. He can't suddenly change tact and start making actually good shit. I mean, he doesn't have the brain cells for it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like where the money is coming from now. It's either coming from a big right winger who wants you to make right wing shit, or a big left winger who wants you to make left wing shit, or like some liberal bullshit or some conservative bullshit. It's like, it's weird, but you kind of need a rich kid almost to not care. And the rich kids are too busy being influencers and shit now, you know? Like, I got some respect for a rich kid that goes like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to use all this money daddy gave me to not give a fuck, but make something good. But I think now, like, you know, I agree with what you're saying. You have to go, you know, what I'd say full pelt. Go full pelt at it. And if you get cancelled, fuck it. But, you know, if you get cancelled and your money runs out, you're fucked. You know, if my Patreon got cancelled, I am fucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm finished, bro. Like, you know, and it's just that, unfortunately, we're at a place now where a gang of people on a social media app can get you fired from your job quicker than a fucking tribunal where you actually work can. That is mental, you know?
Yeah.
Well, let's say what was the most recent example of, let's say, a film movement that maybe didn't exist before, or that was a little bit unconventional, not what regular movies were, that something like mumblecore, let's say, right? That mumblecore was like an underground movement or an independent movie movement that was very successful in its own way, as small scale as it was, because it was creating something new. It was presenting movies in a different light and showing actors doing different things that regular actors were doing. So it became something, and the people that were big in that scene were names, sort of, for people that knew about that. But then, as soon as they got one big-ish property, then they all became that. Mumblecore now is dead. Not saying that it shouldn't be, because honestly, like, I never thought it was that interesting. I thought it was obviously more real, quote unquote, but a lot of the stories were just kind of mundane and who gives a shit, so a lot of it is just boring. But it was a new thing. But now you look at the directors that were involved in that movement, and a lot of them are doing huge things now, like Adam Wingard, who's doing the Godzilla thing, or what is it?
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes.
Crazy,
yeah.
And what's the other guy? So like, but that's the thing. Like, they were creating a new thing that, fine, it didn't give them the success that something like Kong vs. Godzilla will give them, or the money that will. But now that movement is dead, and they are just a director that is part of that factory that's just going to create things that are nothing really special, or don't really have a vision or anything different to say, but you're just, you know, you're a name that's kind of known, so let's see what this guy's doing, even though, you know, nothing new is shown in the movie.
That's kind of the nature of things, though. You have these factions that come together, they create a trend, and then, you know, most of them sell out, some of them don't make it, and then the next thing comes along. But what we've seen is that there's not really a next thing. I think that might be because there's not like a shared pop culture anymore. So in a shared pop culture, we can look at mumblecore as like this weird little niche thing where people with like camcorders are making small, intimate projects about how, you know, their girlfriend wants to cheat on them and they're trying to cope with that. And they're actually the bad. I'm a bad guy because my girlfriend wants to sleep with 3 guys and it's my fault. So please love me still, honey. You know, movies like that can be the weird niche, cool little indie thing at the time if there's a greater apparatus of movies that are more typical, right? But I mean, everybody's in their own niche factions now as far as culture goes. You go online, and there's an infinite number of these things. Like, we have our own little Facebook group with 400 guys who all think and act the exact same and wear cute little outfits and fedoras and talk about Godzilla movies or whatever they do, you know. So it's like, it's that thing. I mean, it's difficult
though.
Yep.
No, I think though, like, I do have some hope that I think something will come, and we'll just be completely blindsided, and it will be the new generation. Like, and I don't mean like, you know, there's one part of me that's like the kids are absolutely fucked because of social media, but then there's also like elements to that crowd that are coming up with some already like really original cool shit. Like, I don't have TikTok or anything, but I have like younger family members that do. And now and then they'll show me some shit. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. That's really inventive. They've used a very basic like in-app tool to make something very funny or very like catchy or whatever. And I do have some faith that like the fucking 12 and 13-year-olds of now will that will do something to them. And when they get to the age of having these like ideas to really make proper shit, I just think one there's going to be some kind of movement that comes through and goes, fuck all that. We're going to do X, Y, Z because this cannot be sustained, you know? Like everything is cyclical and it's so fucking boring now. And people say, oh, well, each generation thought that. Not really, they didn't actually, because, you know, there was I mean, if you look at fucking TV in the 90s, even in Britain, it was popping off. There was great shit being made,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just now it's so dead. So it's not true that oh each generation thinks that. It's not. We're just at the end, I think, of a cycle, and maybe naively, but I do have some faith that all these weird little niches will spring about a movement that just goes boom, we've got it, and something fucking new as fuck comes out, and us three are like, oh man, God, we're the old men now, we're quitting, like you know, and they'll do some mad cool shit. I hope, but you never know. But I can see it. I do. I don't think all hope is lost. You know.
I think movies are gonna just become 15-minute things that people watch on their phones, and that's it. There's not gonna be any long, because everything
no,
that
that's
comes,
such an
that comes
old
out,
man from 2004 opinion. It's like you're gonna watch a movie on the Sony PSP. What? Please come on.
Hold on. Because everything that's coming out, or things that have become successful in changing format, let's say, of something that's traditional, has been how to make this shorter so we get to the meat of it without having to sit there for 3 hours.
What about
so
Justice League? Justice League's the biggest movie right now. It's 4 hours.
Hold on.
No, you're wrong, Hans.
So in the states, you have a thing called Red Zone, right? Which is for football, for American football, where you only show whenever the team is close to the end zone, which is close to scoring, and it goes from game to game to game, so you don't watch the whole game. Now I saw that the president of the Juventus, which is one of the biggest soccer teams in the world, is proposing that they create something like that for soccer, where you only watch the last 15 minutes of the game, so that you're not watching 90 minutes of boring soccer, right? So
We've had that in the UK for years, though. It's called highlights. Every Sunday, it's just highlights. It's just guys that like, but everybody that watches highlights generally watches the game as well. You know, like it's just. I get what you're saying, but yeah, we've had that for a long time, and it's never stopped people watching the full game.
But I guess it just it makes it more accessible to people that are not willing to sit for 90 minutes to watch something that maybe
time to be
fan of, I guess, or that, yeah. Because now I don't know, it seems like everything is just fast now. Like everything has to be, but you know, besides Justice League, fine. But everything is immediate gratification. So I don't know with
that is true.
Movies,
and the attention spans are
I don't agree with this.
True.
This feels very 1998 to me. Like the World Wide Web is coming up. We got to make everything quick and MTV editing. These kids, please no. The reason why people watch movies is not. The reason why people watch movies is not the same reason why people watch YouTube videos. Now, you might get bait like that to try and lure people in, but if someone's watching a movie, they want to at least watch it for 90 minutes. They're going to feel gypped if they don't get something that is within a reasonable span of time. It's the same reason with books. You want a quick book? No, I want a nice long book. What's going to happen, I think, is, and you guys might not have any background on this, but fun fact about my past life, I used to work in independent publishing. Book publishing, if you will, and I'm very. I remember. So yeah, you remember that, Hans. But what happened around like 2010 was you saw an emphasis on traditional big publishing companies, the big five, start to dwindle, and people were more interested in authors like Tao Lin, who were kind of experimental, very online. I think something similar to that is going to happen with the film industry, especially since theaters are going to die. So you're going to have more of a neutralized platform with the streaming, right? And around, again, 2011, 2012, you had these small, cool, hip indie publishing houses come up that were producing interesting works from authors who are like totally irrelevant now. And some of them made it. Some of them got outed as pedophiles and using their fame to seduce 15-year-old teens or whatever they were doing. I think you're going to have the same thing with film, where you have a medium that makes essentially everything accessible, so long as it meets whatever guidelines or it's got to be in ProRes 444, whatever it might be. You're going to have that opportunity to showcase your work through these different venues, especially since it's not going to be financially feasible to do these giant blockbusters if the theater chains are closing up shop for good. You're not going to have too many Justice League sized films. And as far as like properties like that go, Disney's already been like, we're going to commit to doing series instead because that's more feasible. People have a greater appetite for that, and it's going to be cheaper.
Well, one thing that like I kind of get what you're saying. One thing that I think has been a good thing, not to be all woke about it, it's just genuinely good. Like I know like a lot of the younger generation are a lot more exposed to foreign films now. Like back in the day, like foreign media. I remember one of my aunts bought me La Haine when I was like 12. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's in French. And she was like, well, it's got subtitles. I mean, I didn't say it like that, but I was just like, it's French. And I was like, I don't speak French. She's like, well, yeah, it's got subtitles. And like the idea of watching a film with subtitles, I was like, what the fuck? And then I put it on.
Just a little,
you know,
little angry 11-year-old Jake. What the fuck?
I literally was like, what the fuck? And I looked at the back and there's a guy holding a gun. So I was like, all right, let's put it on. And I was like blown away, like fucking like, this is incredible. Like I didn't even know films could be like this. You know what I mean? Like absolutely blown away. That was just one chance that like one of my arty kind of aunts brought me it. But now kids are exposed to all of this shit all the time, like, you know, like constantly. And I do think that there'll be like a space as they get older where, you know, all these black kids, these Chinese kids, all these kids from these diaspora backgrounds and different places or wherever, they're gonna start making some really cool shit because all this cultural amalgamation that they've seen from young will make something new instead of it being like, you know, here's the rich white guys that control this. And I mean, honestly, like, again, I do sound like some fucking wokey who I hate those people, but that bit is kind of true. Like, the same kind of people have been controlling the mass, like, movie market for years, right?
Yeah, Mel Gibson
like,
was talking about this.
yeah, right, yeah. I didn't mean them guys, but yeah. But you know what I mean? Eventually, it's gonna die out, right? And then, I mean, maybe not Hollywood, but there is going to be a space for like all these new fucking kids to like just make cool shit, I think, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the problem with what you're saying is that the voices that get elevated in the States, even if you're a person of color, you're still not a person of color. You know what I mean? So you get people like Jordan Peele, who's whiter than I am, but he's a person of color. So everything he produces has like a very this side of politics tone to it.
Yes.
So it's not really saying anything brave. It's not groundbreaking. It's not doing anything other than let's push this same narrative that someone that doesn't have the same color of skin as me can't do because, you know, I'm pushing it from this side, but it's not saying anything new. As, you know, compared to a foreign film where they don't have the same mentality and they would see things from a different point of view. So the problem with the States is that the people that get elevated, fine, they're people of color, but they still have to fit into a box that is not really
absolutely
that person, you know?
And yeah, I 100% agree. And a great example of this was when Black Panther came out, right? That's the superhero film, right? Yeah, Black Panther. And like that came out and everyone's saying it's so amazing, this black film. And I was looking at it and I was seeing a film like basically the same white racist people in Hollywood that perpetrated like racism within media for like decades have now realized that the tide has changed, now have made loads of money off of this film. And then meanwhile, you have films like Beasts of No Nation, which was a fucking masterpiece made by like, you know, black filmmakers, black produce, whatever, made about a black culture in Africa and blah, blah. Didn't even get a looking, didn't even get a mention at Oscars or any of that shit. And it's like, what is that? Like, you know, it's just so fucking fake. It's for progressives to feel good about themselves and pretend that racism is gone now, you know.
Yeah. They don't want the real version of it because that's scary.
So right, that's scary for them. Yeah, I think
if you show me what the third world country actually looks like real poverty, I don't want to look at that. I'd rather go to Africa.
We can't show
exactly.
That would be bad. Well, no, I mean, to what you're saying, everything is marketed to the biggest consumer base in America, which is white women. So it's got to fit their palate. And I think Jordan Peele, who you were just talking about, is a great example of what you were talking about before with like the mumblecore directors, where I think he had promise in the beginning and then he sold out. And I mean, we're just seeing the woke version of that. If you want to see somebody who's doing like a good big budget Hollywood film, check out. I think his name is Shaka King, and he's the director of Judas and the Black Messiah. That movie,
Oh, that man.
I had preconceived notions about that movie, but I was actually very impressed with
I
that
really
film.
want to see it, man. Fred
It's
Hampton is a fucking hero, man. I love that guy. Like, he did one of the most incredible fucking things. He did that Rainbow Coalition, right? Where
yeah.
it's like, I don't care if you're black, white, if you're poor, you fucking come here and you can get food. Like, I thought that was beautiful, man. And the way the fucking CIA killed him. But sorry, so you said it's good, right?
It's actually a very good movie. I thought it was going to be
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna
total piece
watch
of
it.
shit, but we had a guest on here who was like, "No, it's a good movie." So I decided to check it out because it was on
Uh-huh.
HBO Max, and I was thoroughly impressed with it. And I also checked out some of that director's short films, and he's actually like a very funny director, which does not fit
Right.
the movie at all. But yeah, very good film.
Check it out, man.
Yeah, but that's the thing. As much as you want to cover yourself with the flag of diversity, and you have the Oscars now selecting two women for the first time ever as best directors, and all it took was a pandemic that made it illegal to go watch movies at the theater. They're so woke, you know. But that's the thing. Like, now, it's more about how many boxes do you tick than are you actually showing me a different side of that story? Because everything is going to be sanitized to the point where it's the equivalent of these white women going to Africa to take pictures at like a resort or whatever, pretending that they're, you know, helping, or holding a fucking broom or a shovel, pretending that they're doing something, and then going back
Right.
home
I
just
built
to
a
show everyone the
church.
picture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Taking
And,
their
and
gloves
it's not
off,
actually
shaking
showing
hands
you.
with the locals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not afraid of weights. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that real story that you're getting it from someone that is coming from a privileged background. They're just a different color. They're just not white, but it's
Uh,
still someone that private school, suburban house, rich parents. So that whatever picture of that you're trying to get is never going to be that. But unfortunately, that's how things run in the United States. So that thing of the foreign films, like, that's still going to be there. It's just we just have to get to a point where those voices are the ones that get elevated for what they are, and not pretending that Jordan Peele has something interesting to say, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right, man, 100%. And I think, like, when I listen to you there, it's like the issue is not really cinema or films. It's like the industry and all of that around it. There's actually so many great films out there, and I think hopefully eventually with the kind of, I saw it this year. Like, I know it's the pandemic, but like Twitter was spamming so fucking hard in trends, like the Oscars or the whatever it was, the Emmys, and like really, I don't think many people gave a shit. You know
No.
what I mean? And hopefully their power wanes and people can just go, yeah, I like this film, I like that film, like, and realize that winning an award, like, who gives a fuck? Like, really, I do hope that the next generation, I think they will. I think things have just been atomized so much that they'll be like, what? Like, Oscars? My favorite anime doesn't know about Oscars. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do
Well,
hope that, I think they do need to lose their power. Let's shake it all up. Why
Well,
not?
if the Grammys are anything to go by, that was 18 million viewers last year, and now it's 9 million or 7 million viewers this year. So
Wow.
people are really dumping out of these things. The investment in any sort of film winning an award, like the artifice of it has been, I think, made mostly aware to the general population at this point, and also like things like Rotten Tomatoes critical reception of movies is not really worth what it was before.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
one of the
people
things
just
that
listen to their friends more now.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
what
people just listen to their pals. If I want to know what film, I text you all the time, right? Hey, what film shall I fucking watch? I'm not gonna look at like fucking, oh, what's the leaderboard? I'm just gonna be like, who do I know that likes cool shit? They kind of know I like this and that. Okay, and I think kids really vibe off of that a lot.
Well, that's one of the things that I never understood about award shows, that you're basing your opinion, or you're going to check something out based on the opinion of someone that has nothing to do in common with you, or
Yeah,
has nothing in common with you, you know? So it's just a group of 60, 70-year-olds that are deciding whichever movie is the best movie of the year. And it's like, do you have anything that you like in common with them? How them decided that something is good means that you're going to like it or going to enjoy it when you have nothing in common with them. Like that never. So whenever a movie is selected as best picture or whatever, it's like, well, fine. That doesn't mean that I'm going to enjoy it just because of that. But that giving them an award on the opinion of a specific group of people that it's never meant anything to me, I guess.
Right, and the people that you're talking about, it's all just a big club, like it's just a circle jerk. It's a big club, like it's all what you said as well about like privileged people is so true. It's like, I see it a lot in journalism, and and I'll see, I've got a lot of friends of different races that grew up pretty poor, like the same area as me, whatever. And then, and I'll get on with them, no problem. And then I'll go into journo world, as I call it. And you'll meet someone at some kind of event, and they're like, oh, this person is like, oh, we got this amazing black filmmaker. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, why not? And then you meet them and you're like, hang on, you're just as fucking rich and as posh as this person. Like my pals back home are way more interesting than you, like because of the background they're from. You're from, like you were saying, you're from a fucking posh school. You're from the okay, you have a different ethnic background, so your family life's different. But like that shit is still ingrained. All that elitism is still ingrained, and it's like it's just boring. I'm like, you're boring as shit, man. Like like my friends back home, like I go around there and see his mum's cooking up some mad meal I've never fucking heard of, and and it's great. Like I love all that shit. It's like, why be around the exact same people, just different shades? It's not just about that, man. There's so much more to diversity than race, and it's almost racist in itself for like the liberal filmmaker to be like, well, we've hired 15 people of color, we're good now. It's like, no, man, what the fuck is that? What, you think they're all the same? Like, is this just are they a tick for you on a fucking form? Like, no, they're people with great ideas and different ideas and bad ideas. No, same as any other one else. Like, it's very fucking weird, man.
That's what it's become. It's never about what they're bringing to the table. It's never, well, you know what? We hired five
fat directors, more fat directors. I would love to see more fat directors.
We need some more fat guys.
We hired fat women of color to write this series of whatever, but they never said, okay, well, this person is bringing this experience from this and this and this. No, it's just, well, they're women of color. What else?
Right. And it's like, it's not to say that women of color haven't got good shit. It's like, okay, I'll bring you 5 women of color that will write the best fucking shit. But it's not just because they're women of color. Like, it's crazy. It's like, they went to the person of color store and bought the first thing they saw. Like, it's honestly like almost fucking racist in the way that they think that's enough to be, equal. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, we need more directors like Abel Ferrara, director of Bad Lieutenant, who loves smoking crack during all of his films and almost ruining the production. He loves crack.
Really?
Yes, this is
so much more interesting though.
If you take a look at him too, he looks about the type. He looks like Danny DeVito's Penguin from Batman Returns with his long hair and everything. He's such an interesting character. He's like if Martin Scorsese was a fuck up, like if Scorsese just didn't make it. I know you watched Bad Lieutenant. We got to talk about Bad Lieutenant a little bit, I think. Just to bring it back around.
Yeah, I gotta go in about 10 minutes. Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, but no, happy to talk about it. Yeah, man, 100%. I watched it. Yeah.
But going back to Abel Ferrara, like, how much more would you prefer to sit down and have a talk with him than with like the Russell brothers? Or the fucking Taika Waititi or whatever the fuck, all these directors now that just, what do? Nothing. Oh, everything you say and do is sanitized and safe. And like, why would I ever want to sit down?
Well, I think that's what we're talking about, though, is I think life experience at least helps creators create more interesting pieces of art because they have more perspective. So, yes. Obviously, I'm joking about Abel Ferrara, but actually, I'm not joking about Abel Ferrara. We should have more people like that who have the initiative to create things. I think we'll be much better
imperfect people, right? Like imperfect people are just more interesting to speak to, let alone what they make. You know what I mean? You ever have a fucking conversation with a homeless guy? It's like it's like, wow, what the fuck? You did what? Like, even if it's rough, like,
talk to homeless people. You should never come to New York. I'll tell you that right now. You'll be a bad experience for you.
I volunteered at a soup kitchen and shit, man. Like, it's not just a random thing, but like, they've always got like some fucking interesting shit to hear about. Yeah. You don't forget them. You know what I mean? You at least don't forget. Like, and it's not just from pity. It's from like, wow, you're interesting, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll wrap up here. I feel like this is a good spot to wrap up since you got to go anyway. So, where can people find you online, Jake?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on again, man. I always enjoy it. I've been watching a lot of films recently, actually. Like, I'm fucking on a roll. I'm gonna watch Gyllenhaal's Enemy tonight, so I'm gonna watch that.
Nice.
After I
Nice.
have
That's
this
good.
call. Yeah, I watched Prisoners, and then I watched some other shit he did the other day. But yeah, find me online. Just like my website, jakehanrahan.com. Everything is there. I got a book coming out soon. It's just like a compilation of my written work.
Nice.
Or yeah, listen to our podcast. Go to popularfront.co. It's all about war, conflict, all of that shit.
Terrific. And Hans, everybody knows where to find you. It's just Hans
Yeah.
Memorial. And if you want to get the video of this episode, go to patreon.com/lowres, $5. And yeah, you can see Osama bin Laden. You can see me. And it'll be a good time. All right. All right. That's been Movies for this week. Jake, thank you so much for coming back on.
Cheers, man. Thank you.